Corporal Gary Fonenier said the band issued shocking statements just before 3 p.m. at Americana Bayside Welcome Center, ET Canada reported. Police did not share what those exact threats were, but after the band met with law enforcement and made the decision to cancel or at least postpone the concert. The band announced the cancellation on Instagram, saying heightened security concerns had prompted the band to cancel the concert. It has already been scheduled for August 17th. Delaware State Police have released the photos of the two men believed to have made the threats and are searching for them or anyone who has information about who they are. Fonenier says police were not releasing specifics about the threatening statements because the investigation is ongoing. Demi Lovato and Nick Jonas paid tribute to the Orlando terrorist victims Saturday during a stop on their Future Now tour, as well as paying tribute to the Voice finalist Christina Grimmie, who was murdered just 2 nights earlier. Omar Mateen killed 49 people in the Pulse nightclub in Orlando June 12 and injured another 53. The two performed an emotional version of R&B singer Andrea Day's song Rise Up, Time reported. Day joined them in performing her song immediately following a group prayer. Day wrote on Instagram, "Got to pay tribute to the victims, survivors, and all those affected by the Pulse shooting in Orlando with 2 of my favorite people last night, at Nick Jonas and at Demi Lovato. Thank you for having me, Orlando. Our prayers, love, and our support are with you." Lovato and Jonas also invited employees from Pulse nightclub, where the massacre took place, to attend the show for free of charge. The two are just some of the many musicians that have joined in memorializing the Orlando shooting victims. Melissa Etheridge wrote a song called Pulse in their honor. The first ever Lollapalooza Colombia Music Festival has been canceled after organizers were unable to replace a departing headlining act. The statement on the event's official website, which was originally posted in Spanish, reads, "After its lead artist canceled just hours before the festival was slated to announce the lineup and faced with difficulties in finding the right replacement, the organizers of the festivals have been forced to cancel the inaugural Lollapalooza Colombia." It continued by saying, "Organizers of the Lollapalooza Colombia want to express their deep thanks to all the fans who supported the fest from day one, as well as sponsors and supporters." The headlining act who dropped out was not specific, but Colombia sources RCN Radio said it was Rihanna and that she pulled out over the Zika virus fears. The New York Daily News reports, however, that Rihanna was merely invited to the Lollapalooza Colombia and could not make the dates. Rihanna has yet to comment on the speculation. The event was set to take place from September 17th through the 18th in Bogota's Simón Bolívar Park, with performances from Disclosure, Lana Del Rey, and Wiz Khalifa. Ticket holders will be fully refunded. Azealia Banks has defended her use of skin lightening products, comparing it to getting a nose job and describing it as a woman's right. The outspoken rapper said during a Facebook Live video entitled Skin Lightening, "It's a deep conversation into a woman's right to choose a woman's choice," where she addressed her decision to bleach her skin. She says, "With being a black woman, at least for me, I can forget to be a woman, and I just get really bent up on blackness and all these unwritten rules that comes with being black. You kind of forget to give yourself a break sometimes. Blackness in today's age is so paradoxical. It's so many things." She continued in the clip by saying, "What's the difference between getting a nose job and changing your skin color? What's the difference between wearing a hair weave and changing your skin color?" Continued talking about those questions while filming while the 25-year-old was on a bike ride. She says, "Nobody was upset when I was wearing a 30-inch weave and tearing out my edges and doing all that type of shit like that. You guys loved it." Banks, who's known for advocating for better representation of black women in the media, also commenting on how bleaching her skin does not dismiss her messages of empowerment. She says, "For so many people to say, oh, you wanting to lighten your skin, to say it negates anything I've said about the current situation of blackness in America is ignorant and just stupid. What does body modifications have to do with someone's level of intellect? The two don't correlate, and I think it's petty. I think it's very contradictory." Banks made headlines in May after Twitter shut down her account on the social media site following a rant against singer Zayn Malik, in which she insulted Malik's Palestinian background after she claims the former One Direction singer copied her style. R&B music icon Smokey Robinson will be the next recipient of the Library of Congress's Gershwin Prize for Popular Song. The awards honors as a living music artist's lifetime achievement in promoting the genre of song as a vehicle of cultural understanding, entertaining and informing audiences, and inspiring new generations, the press release said. Previous recipients are Paul Simon, Stevie Wonder, Paul McCartney, Burt Bacharach, and the late Hal David, Carole King, Billy Joel, and Willie Nelson. Robinson, a 76-year-old Detroit native whose career has spanned more than 50 years, will be presented with the prize in Washington, D.C. in November. His classic songs include You Really Got a Hold on Me, Ooh Baby Baby, The Track of My Tears, More Love, I Second That Emotion, Baby Baby Don't Cry, The Tears of a Clown, Cruisin', Being With You, Just to See Her, and 1B. Library of Congress David S. Mouse said in a statement Tuesday, as a singer, songwriter, producer, and record executive, Smokey Robinson is a musical legend. His rich melodies are a work of art, enduring, meaningful, and powerful, and he is a master at crafting lyrics that speak to the heart and soul, expressing ordinary themes in an extraordinary way. It is that quality in his music that makes him one of the greatest poetic songwriters of our time. Robinson added, "It gives me such joy and gratitude to be included among the past recipients of this most prestigious songwriting award." And now let's take a look at what happened on this date in entertainment history. On this date in 1971, Louis Armstrong dies. Louis Satchmo Armstrong, one of the most influential musicians of the 20th century, dies in New York City at the age of 69. A world-renowned jazz trumpeter and vocalist, he pioneered jazz improvisation in a style known as swing. Louis Daniel Armstrong was born in New Orleans, the birthplace of jazz, in 1901. He grew up in poverty and from a young age was interested in music. In 1912, he was incarcerated in the Colored Waves Home for Boys, allegedly for firing a gun into the air on New Year's Eve. While there, he played cornet in the home's band. Upon his release, he dedicated himself to becoming a professional musician and soon was mastering the local jazz styles of the cornet. He attracted the attention of cornetist Joe King Oliver, and when Oliver moved to Chicago in 1919, he took his place in trombonist Kid Ory's band, a leading group in New Orleans at the time. He later teamed up with pianist Fate Marlborough and performed on riverboats traveling the Mississippi. In 1922, King Oliver invited Armstrong to Chicago to play second cornet in his Creole jazz band, and Armstrong made his first recordings with Oliver the following year. In 1924, he moved to New York City and demonstrated his emerging improvisational style in the Fletcher Henderson Orchestra. In 1925, Armstrong returned to Chicago and formed his own band, the Hot Five, which included Kid Ory, clarinetist Johnny Dodds, and pianist Lil Hardin, Armstrong's second wife. This band, which later grew into the Hot Seven, recorded some of the seminal pieces in the history of jazz, including Savoy Blues, Potato Head Blues, and West End Blues. In these recordings, Armstrong abandoned the collective improvisation in New Orleans-style jazz and placed the emphasis on individual solos. He switched from cornet to trumpet during this time and played the latter with an unprecedented virtuosity and range. In the 1926 recording Heebie-Jeebies, he popularized scat singing, a style in which jazz musicians sing musical lines of nonsensical syllables in emulation of instrumental improvisation. His joyous voice, both coarse and exuberant, was one of the most distinctive in popular music. In 1929, Armstrong returned to New York City and made his first Broadway appearance. His recordings, many of which were jazz interpretations of popular songs, were international hits, and he toured the United States and Europe with his big band. His music had a major effect on the swing and big band sound that dominated popular music in the 1930s and 40s. A great performer, Armstrong appeared regularly on radio and American films, including Pennies from Heaven in 1936, Cabin in the Sky in 1943, and New Orleans in 1947. In 1947, he formed a smaller ensemble, the All-Stars, which he led until 1968. Louis Armstrong had many nicknames, including Satchmo, short for Satchel Mouth, Dipper Mouth, and Pops. Because he spread jazz around the world through his extensive travels and hit songs, many called him Ambassador Satch. Although in declining health in his later years, he continued to perform until his death on this day in 1971. Also on this date in 1994, the movie Forrest Gump opens in U.S. theaters. A huge box office success, the film starred Tom Hanks in the title role of Forrest, a good-hearted man with a low IQ who winds up at the center of key cultural and historical events of the second half of the 20th century. Forrest Gump was based on a 1986 novel of the same name by Winston Groom, whom, like his character, grew up in Alabama and served in the Army during Vietnam. In the films, which includes now the most famous lines like "Life is like a box of chocolates, You never know what you're going to get. Forrest is a star runner and a ping pong prodigy who inadvertently rubs elbows with the key figures in a number of landmark events, from Elvis to the Civil Rights Movement to Watergate to the rise of Apple computers. He pursues and eventually marries his childhood friend, Jenny, played by Robin Wright Penn, who veered from Forrest's conservative path and became a hippie in the 1960s. Some commentators argue that Jenny's eventual demise was a statement about the counterculture movement in America. Forrest Gump received 13 Academy Award nominations and took home 6 Oscars, including Best Picture, Best Actor in a Lead Role for Hanks, and Best Director for Robert Zemeckis. The film also won an Oscar for its then cutting-edge computer-generated imagery, CGI special effects, which incorporate Forrest Gump into existing news footage with famous world figures including John F. Kennedy, John Lennon, and Richard Nixon. The win was Hanks' second in the Best Actor category. A year earlier, the actor had nabbed an Oscar for his starring role as a lawyer with AIDS in Philadelphia. With Forrest Gump, Hanks became the only second actor after Spencer Tracy to win back-to-back Oscars. In addition to his Oscar wins, he was nominated for an Academy Award in the Best Actor category for his performances in Big in 1988, Saving Private Ryan in 1998, and Castaway in 2000. And that is your entertainment report for Wednesday, July 6, 2016. I'm your host, Mr. Downtown Ray Melo. I'll be back tomorrow to deliver some major stories and trends going on in the world of entertainment and beyond. You can follow the show on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. Facebook.com/The Entertainment Report with Ray Melo. That's RYMELO. On Twitter at The Enter Report, or on Instagram at The Entertainment Report. You can listen to this episode or any previous episodes of The Entertainment Report anytime you want on iHeartRadio. Just go to iHeart.com or your iHeart phone app, search for The Entertainment Report, and it'll take you to the page. Good night, and God bless you all.